Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
We are all right, thank you, sir.
So you can sit. So today is a very beautiful day that we want to look at something very precise and good, okay?
Yes.
Something very good and precise, okay? And this is what we are calling stereotypes. Okay? We are going to look at stereotypes. And then we are going to ask ourselves, what are stereotypes? Okay? We are going to ask ourselves, what are stereotypes? When we talk about stereotypes, these are simple and brief ideas. Simple and ideas that people believe. That people believe. But these ideas are actually not true. Okay? Yes. They are beliefs that people believe in, but which are not actually true. A stereotype. Something that maybe can be put against either only boys or only girls, only men, only women. Is that okay? Yes. And what are we meaning here? These stereotypes, in most cases, begin with, say, people saying, all, for example, all men, all men are that. Or saying, no girl. Have you ever heard of such statements?
Yes.
Whereby they say, no girl can do this. No boy can do this. Okay? Those are stereotypes. Okay? Have you ever heard about them?
Yes.
Okay. I want to give you an example. Okay? You hear people say, have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
All men are
Strong.
This is a simple idea that many people believe. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
I want us to categorize these stereotypes. Remember, I have told you they are not true. They are not
true.
Let me ask, are all men strong?
No.
I want a personal answer from someone. There is someone who is ready to help us here. Yes?
No, some men are strong and some are weak.
Some men are strong and others are weak. What about women?
Some are strong and some are weak.
Okay, so this statement or idea that all men are strong becomes a what?
Stereotype.
It becomes a stereotype, okay? Thank you, you can sit. Turn and talk to a friend, okay? Turn and talk to a friend. Let this person share with you some of the stereotypes that the person has ever had. Discussing these stereotypes doesn't mean that you believe in them. Doesn't mean that you are saying they are actually true. But I just want you to share with that partner whether the person has ever heard of these stereotypes, okay? Yeah. Then we shall pick a group or two groups to share with us what you have ever heard about men or women. Turn and talk to a friend. Turn and talk to a friend. So now I want to listen from you, okay? The stereotypes that you have shared, okay? Yes, the stereotypes that you have shared. What did you share with your friend? So what was your stereotype? Yes?
All men work hard.
Hey, all men work hard. So I want you to further tell me, what about women?
Even women work hard.
Great. So that means this is a stereotype, okay? Yes. Did you hear what she said about women?
Yes.
What did she say?
Even women work hard.
Good, you can sit. That's a good job, okay? Thank you. Okay, so we would like to look at more examples, okay, that you have discussed as pairs. So Patricia, what was the stereotype that you discussed? Tell us.
All women like cooking food.
You said all women do what?
Cook food.
All women cook food. Okay. So Patricia, I want you to tell me, why are you saying this is a stereotype?
Even some boys like cooking food.
Oh, great. She says even some boys like cooking what? Food. Do you have some brothers who can cook food? Yes. Good. Thank you. You can sit. That's a good one. Okay. Thank you, class. We have seen that there are very many stereotypes, okay, about boys, about girls, about men, and about women. And these are actually not true. Is that okay? Yes. And we are a very clever class. You are so clever that we shall not believe in these stereotypes, okay? Yes. Even though we are different, we can be different, but we can actually work as a team. Class, I would like to talk about classroom jobs, okay? Yes. I have heard that some boys are telling girls to do for them their jobs in class, okay? But remember from our discussion, we said that, remember from our discussion of stereotypes, we said that stereotypes are actually not true and are not fair. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. In our homes, women can do housework and even men can do housework. Boys can do housework and some girls can do housework. Okay? Yes. There is no boy jobs or girl jobs, okay? But all are our jobs. Okay, class, today we are going to read a story. But before we read the story, our story, there is something that I have noticed. Okay? I have noted that in most of our stories, the main character is always a man or a boy. Is that okay? Yes. Have you also ever noted that in our books? Have you ever noticed that? Yes. Have you ever noted that? Yes. Yes. And now I would like to ask, why is it that these books normally feature boys or men as the main character? Why? Turn and talk to a friend. Have a friend to talk to. Turn and talk to a friend. Why do you think most of our stories in the book are always talking about a boy or a girl? Turn and talk to a friend. Turn and talk to a friend. Yes, Kato. Why do you think there are more of boys and men names as characters? Yes.
Maybe a person who wrote the stories is a boy and want to speak about boys.
Okay. Maybe. That's great. What else? Why do you think there are more boys' names than girls' names? Yes, Nangobi.
Maybe the writer thinks that only boys should go for adventures.
Is it really true that only boys can go for adventures?
No.
Thumbs up if you say it is true, and thumbs down if it's not true. Okay. Why would you say it's not true? Why would you say it's not true? Yes. Talk to us.
I think girls can go for adventures.
Okay. That even girls can go for
Adventures.
That's perfect. Okay? A bottle of soda there. Enjoy it. Great. When we have our books and stories having more names of boys, only boys as main characters, it shows a bias for boys. A bias is unfair favoring, okay? Unfair favoring. We shall keep on thinking how best we can make stories which are fairer to everyone. Okay, class, we are going to learn one new thing for our class today, okay? Yes. We are going to learn one thing for our class today. Yes. So when you'll be working in your exercise books, okay? Instead of me coming to that person who has just risen the hand to give a correct answer, okay? I will keep on moving to your individual desks to check what you are doing in your book. I may begin from this corner as I move towards this end. One other time I may begin from this corner as I move, okay, while coming to your individual desk. Or I can even begin from the middle. Then I spread across the whole class, okay? You may also raise up your hand, but this may sometimes take me a moment, especially if I'm giving help to someone else. Is that okay? Yes. I will be moving in a pattern, like I said, either from this side, the other side, or from the center. I'm doing this because I want each of you to get help, okay, and feedback from me so that we can all learn. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. So today we are going to read a story, okay? Yes. I'm going to tell you a story about someone who feels like he's different from other friends, okay? Yes. This person feels like he's different from other friends, okay? Yes. And I want to tell you my own story. I want to tell you my own story about someone who feels different. This person is my brother, Joseph. Okay? Joseph is my older brother who has a disability. Having a disability means something happened to your body or your mind that makes things more difficult for you. Joseph has a disability, and his disability is a stammer. Joseph is a stammer. When he has to speak, sometimes he has to repeat sounds of similar words over and over again, up until he can speak. Other times, he takes a lot of pauses in between lines of sentences before he can speak the whole sentence. But mind you, Joseph is actually good at school. But the kids at his school, okay, always made fun of him in the way he could speak, the way he spoke, since he's a stammer. For Joseph not to have friends, not to make friends, was that fair? No. You're right. So it wasn't fair, okay? It wasn't fair. So he felt so different from others. Actually, he felt like he didn't belong to the rest of the friends. So we are going to read a story about a boy who felt the same way. But as we read this story, okay? Yes. Critically think whether you have felt the same way or you know of someone who has felt that very way, like this boy would have felt, or like Joseph felt. Is that okay? Yes. Good. So I want to give you the books so that we can read this story and see how this person felt, and how people were not fair with this boy. Is that okay? Yes. Good.